Today we're going to find out why this car just sold for $310,000.
1, 2, 3.
Welcome to MS Classic Cars. Now, this is not like any other dealership you've ever been to. They purchase #1 and #2 quality vehicles, and then they service them in-house. Now, once they're done with them, the vehicles all come with an invoice. It's all the work that's done to them. MS has over 20 years of experience, and they opened their doors up in 2010. They moved to this location in 2012. And they're no stranger to records either. As a top consignor for Barret Jackson, they set over 30 records and sold over 600 cars. And it's not open to the public. To come here today, I had to get an invite. If anybody wanted to come in to look at a vehicle, it would be by appointment only, and you need to call the dealership. But we're not here today to talk about MS Classic. We're here to talk about what MS Classic just sold. Recently, they sold a 1971 Datsun 240Z for $310,000. And today we're going to discuss how that happens. So this is it, guys. A 1971 Datsun 240Z Series 1. It's only got 21,743 miles on it. This car was built in May of 1970. It was purchased in 1971 by the Munson family, and it stayed in their dealership for 2 years before it was brought to their home. It was given to the Munson's son, and it stayed in the family until 2019, unfortunately, when Munson passed away, and it was sold in an estate sale. This car comes in a racing green with a brown vinyl interior. It has the original engine and a 4-speed transmission. It even has its original window sticker. Now, originally, this vehicle sold for $3,757, but it just recently sold for a whopping $310,000. Now, if you're doing your math, that's 100 times its original value. In fact, more than most exotic cars, and that is extremely impressive. But when you look at the car, it shouldn't be too shocking that it did really well. This vehicle is immaculate. They've gone on the entire interior of the vehicle. They've gone over the engine, done an oil change. It's got a new set of tires on it. It's really exciting to see this car, but even more exciting is how much it sold for. So today we're going to talk to Marc Shiliro, the owner of MS Classics, and discuss with him how this happened. Everybody, welcome to MS Classic Cars. It is great to be out here today. I am with the owner, Marc Shiliro. First, I want to thank you for having us out today. And we are sitting in front of a $310,000 Datsun. Is that right?
That is right.
How do you get to $310,000 on a Datsun?
Well, Alan, this is a very, very special car. This particular Datsun, which you can clearly see here, is a true one-of-a-kind vehicle. It's a 71 240Z Series 1 that has 21,000 original miles. It is a true survivor in every sense of the word, and I think the bidding activity and the sale price had a lot to do with the value of the car. Well,
it's the thing that I have to point out. I mean, everything about the vehicle is beautiful. You guys did such a wonderful job on it. It really shows the quality that goes into a vehicle when it's going to go for this price. That's something you don't see any other place. So I guess the next question, and I think it's really important, is how do you handle a sale of a vehicle like this?
Well, it was emotional for all of us. We have some practice with emotions when it comes time for cars. Over the years, we've done a lot of these auctions, such as Barret Jackson. We're one of Barret Jackson's top consignors, and all the cars that we sell at Barret Jackson are sold at no reserve. So over the years, we've been, at the top, we've been at the bottom, and everything in between. So it's an emotional business, because cars ultimately are worth what people are willing to pay.
Oh, absolutely. And that you can't stress it more about how much it is that the idea that people had to not only see the car, but see the value in the car itself. So, and that's, I mean, the other thing that everybody has kind of been asking me lately is, where is the car headed once it's sold?
Well, the buyer of this particular car had asked to be private. They don't want to have their information publicized. So I signed a non-disclosure agreement. I dealt directly with the buyer's agent and attorney. so I can't really disclose where the vehicle's going. But I will tell you, I've been in the car business my entire life. Right when I graduated high school, I worked for new car dealerships, 2 in particular, learned a lot before I get into the classic car business. And all the years that we've been doing this, we've sold 600 plus cars. I will tell you that in my entire career, I've never had a vehicle with so much activity as I had in the Datsun. We were at Barret Jackson in Scottsdale. When I came back, I think we had somewhere around 47 phone calls on the Datsun. I had to literally sit down, call everybody back. The emails were coming in faster than what I could handle, and we were watching the view page on Bring a Trailer skyrocket the entire time. Of course, there was tons and tons of comments, so we literally spent the entire week essentially around the Datsun when it went live on Bring a Trailer.
Right. So, I mean, did you expect it to go to this level?
I didn't. No. The answer is no. I did not expect it to go to the level that it did. Did I expect it to do well? Absolutely. Because it was such a special car, special find, it really could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We won't know that until the next one comes up for sale. But even the Nissan Museum had to have Datsuns restored to bring them back into the museum. So they're that rare and that hard to find in the condition of this particular car.
Yeah, well, there certain things that I looked about the car that I didn't know a lot about the vehicles, especially about the early Datsuns. One thing, I mean, is the color itself something that's rare in the car, the green?
It is, it is. I was told by the brother of Ronald, who had passed, that his father, James Munson, who owned the dealership, was given this car based on a sales volume record that he had hit. And it was kind of like a gift, if you will, from the manufacturer. And because he knew that the color combination was really rare, this is the one car he picked to give to his son Ronald for a graduation present from college.
That's awesome.
So it was really cool.
Story, yeah.
From the experts, I'm not an expert with Datsuns. I've learned a lot, but there's many experts out there. A lot of these experts came into the dealership. They made comments on Bring a Trailer. A lot of these experts are telling me that this color represented about 2% of the Datsun 240Z with this color combination as well.
And not only that, but I mean, this had one repair technician work on the car through the extent of its life, right?
Yes, and that is a really cool story. When I was talking to Ronald's brother, who lives in Colorado, he had told me that the mechanic, Jim Mayo, had worked on this car its entire life. He worked for Ronald's father for like 19 years at the Datsun dealership, and after they had closed, he went on to be the caretaker of the car during its entire lifetime, up until 2019. There was only one time during the history that he did not actually work on the car. So I actually called, I got his information from the brother. I had actually called and spoke to him on the phone. We had great conversation. He's telling me all the stories about how particular Ronald was and how he didn't want anybody to get close to the car. He only would bring it into the dealership and service it at nighttime or on the weekends, and it was really weird because he'd be standing, you know, a little bit from a distance staring at Jim as he would work on the car. And another name I want to bring up in regards to Jim Mayo, Jim's brother Gary, who's also on the inspection forms, which we included with the car. Gary was the actual service and parts manager. So the two brothers worked at the dealership together. He's a little bit hard of hearing now because, you know, they're a little bit older, and he sent me some emails telling me some stories about the car as well, how he ordered the rims, you know, from the parts department that were on the car its whole life, and how he remembers Jim working on it, his brother, and how he remembers Ronald and everything else. So it was a really cool story that got unfolded.
Yeah, and so that's the thing is this has all its paperwork, all the stuff that goes with this vehicle is pretty much what it looked like from the factory. So I mean, if somebody, the person that's purchasing this vehicle is basically going to get a car that's exactly how it would if they rolled it off the parking lot from a dealership.
Correct.
Right? That's amazing.
Yeah, it's an amazing car, and the one comment I would make about that is this car does retain 100% of its original paint. We paint metered the entire vehicle, so we documented to the public that the paint was 100% original. The wheels that are actually on the vehicle now, the turbine wheels were on it originally. These were the original wheels that he had powder coated, and he changed the D-cup style hubcaps to the ones that you see on there now because he liked these better. Other than that, the white stripe that's actually on the bottom of the vehicle, that was actually installed by a company that used to come into the dealerships. So they installed the white stripe on there, and it gave it a really great look. The interior is all original. It's in showroom condition, and it does have some of the original factory plastic still on some of the pieces.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
So the only aftermarket that's been done to this car is obviously the powder coating and the stripe that goes across the bottom.
Essentially, yes. Yeah, in the turbine wheels that we took off the vehicle but are included with the sale of it.
Got it.
That is correct.
That's the other thing, is that everybody who does any kind of stuff in this level of restoration or any kind of work on their vehicles knows that tires are tough to find. And these came with, hopefully I'm going to get this right, the 175 Vredestein Sprint Classics. And you said that you went to Coker to get those. Were they hard to find, or was it?
No, actually, they're known. Coker's actually known for classic cars with tires. So we basically, anytime that we need those, that's one of the first places we call. So we immediately called them. They were really great, and we were able to order the tires. They're a little bit more on the expensive side, but we wanted to make sure we put a tire on there that was as close to the factory tire as we could find.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I saw during one of the things that I loved the presentation, that was the thing is when I looked at
Thank you.
The way that the vehicle was advertised, a lot of it was video produced so that you had stuff that people could look at your cars. They weren't just, going over the car. They were, here's everything about the car. Here's a picture from the inside and everything. One of the things is you took out a paint thing that measured the distance that the paint had.
Right.
And I think it was between 2 to 3.5. What is the significance of that when it comes to, because I know this is original paint?
Well, a paint meter is used to determine if a vehicle has factory paint. So anytime that you remove factory paint, you then have to apply coats, whether it be coats of a skim of some type of a Bondo or primer or whatever the case might be, extra clear coat, things of this nature. Like these vehicles from the factory were not clear coated. They're an acrylic enamel, so it's much different, today with the way they paint cars than it was back then. But even cars today, with a paint meter, you can determine whether or not the paint is original or not. Matter of fact, one of the guys that actually came in to look at the Datsun, who became a friend of mine, who was actually a bidder on the car, he couldn't believe the paint meter. So I asked him that he was driving a Mazda Miata convertible, and his name is Marc as well. And I went out and said, look, let me show you this paint meter on your Mazda. I said, has your car ever had any paint work? He said it has, and I said, don't tell me where. I went out to his Mazda and I started paint metering the car, and I told him exactly where the car had paint work, which was on the passenger front fender, and I even showed him how they blended the paint into the side of the vehicle, so he was shocked. The one thing about paint meters, they never lie. So when I bought the vehicle, one of my stipulations was, because it was almost too good to be true, is I actually sent my paint meter out via FedEx and taught the gentleman I bought the car from how to use the paint meter, so I would know, not that I didn't trust him, but I just wanted to get that documentation to support it had original paint. And that's what I did. And I told him, make sure you give me back my paint meter. So I ended up having him put it in the glove box of the car when he sent it back to me. So
right. So and this car it's about ready to leave right now. So I mean,
it is.
Yeah. So this we really got they invited us out. Coming here alone is an invitation only thing. So it's something that's a very big deal for us. We wanted to make sure that we got the best look of this car, and it's going to be gone in about 48 hours. So at that point, it'll be towards a new buyer, and they'll be on to their next probably world record, right? Your next world.
Well, we don't want to get too carried away. I will make one comment, so people understand. what separates MS Classic Cars from everybody else is that I really spend the time finding these vehicles. I really look for those number 1, number 2 condition type vehicles. We put them through a very, very rigorous service process. We have full-time mechanics. We don't do work for the public, so they're strictly working on the cars that we sell. We document that work with an invoice. We have unbelievable detailers like this Datsun. As nice as it was when I got it, it was not in the condition that you see today. My guys had to spend a lot of time on the engine compartment, a lot of elbow grease. They spent a lot of time underneath the car, again, elbow grease. And once the car is finished in the detailing process, we write really transparent descriptions that are very accurate. I have to learn these cars really well before I can start to advertise them and answer calls and so forth. And then we also take great photography, which was evident with this, and we try to be extremely responsive. So when people call, we call them back. When we get emails, we email them back. Just like on the Bring a Trailer auction, you can see our response time and how we did things. So we really want to make it a great experience from beginning to end, and we're still dealing with the buyer now, coordinating all the transportation and things like that.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is nobody else has records with their vehicle, so everything that you've done is all documented, put in the car, it comes with it. So
we definitely go through them all and we document it with an invoice, and we stand behind the cars we sell too. So whether it be this Datsun or any other vehicle that we've sold, if we sell a vehicle and with a short time frame that vehicle needs work, something that maybe we overlooked, one of my mechanics, maybe it was something that purely broke out of coincidence, I would absolutely take care of the customer in the car, and that's kind of what we built our reputation around.
You're not just Bring a Trailer, you're on all different places too.
Well, so we do, just to give you a couple real quick,
yeah, go ahead.
We do the Barret Jackson auctions. We've been doing Barret Jackson since 2007. We're proud to say that we're one of their top consignors. We're also proud to say that we hold over 30 world records with Barret Jackson. They've been great for us. We also do an auction in February, which is the Atlantic City auction in New Jersey, that we do year in, year out. This year, because of this Datsun and some other things, I had to miss the auction, unfortunately, but we will definitely be back next year. In the month of June, we do an auction that's actually in July. It's in Pennsylvania, the CPAA auction, which we've been doing now for a few years. We do another auction, which is in August. It's Owl's Head Transportation Museum's auction. They put on a great event there. So we do, you know, 3 or 4 different auction companies throughout the year, and we also started doing these online auctions like Bring a Trailer and Hemmings, which is a big name in the automotive, especially classic car world. We do the Hemmings online auction now too. So and we sell a lot of cars privately. So it's a combination of, in today's market, you can't just go in one direction. We're trying to go in all directions and keep our name in the public's eye and increase business. Well,
I like you said, I know from a standpoint right here, this will not be the last time that your name comes up when it comes to classic car. So it's been a lot of fun coming out to MS Classic today. Marc, I want to thank you for having me out today.
Alan, thank you.
It's been great being here.
Appreciate it.
If I can ask one last question, what do you think the future holds?
Well, at MS Classic Cars, we have a really bright future. We have a great team. I foresee in the foreseeable near future, we'd like to put all of our locations that we have into one massive location. I'd love to open the doors to doing outside work. So we plan on doing maybe some consignments for number 1 and number 2 condition vehicles. Of course, we're going to have to put them through the same service process and detail process as we do with my own inventory. We'll definitely have a lot more staff, which means we'll be able to support a lot more inventory that will get through the system. We'll also offer detailing to the public. We'll offer service work to the public. We'll offer transportation to the public. You know, we'll advertise anywhere in New England. If you want to have your car serviced, we can pick it up, we can deliver it with an enclosed trailer, something like this. And I think once all of that has happened and we really start moving and things are you know, in rhythm, I would really like to probably do a show, a TV show, maybe 4 or 5 years from now, where we can bring people into the scene of MS Classic Cars, not only into the process of how we do things, but also educate the public as we become educated with each individual car. I've met a lot of the experts in the business over all these years. I've been taught a lot, and I can share to the public everything I've learned. And then the other flip side of it would be we can take the world to these auctions that we're going to and have them be part of the activity, especially the no reserve auctions, or maybe even like this Datsun. You know, maybe we could have done something where it would have been filmed live and people actually could have seen it on a TV episode, which would have been really cool.
I love that idea. It's so great. Yeah, this has been great. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to check out MS Classic Cars. It has been a joy to be out here. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we're going to be looking forward to the next world record real soon.
Thank you.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it. Thanks
Bye.
again. Thank you.